Good evening, everybody. Yeah, look at that. How about that Christmas gift? A minute early. Oh no, Rumble's not working. Ah, what a hunk of junk. Oh well, if you're on Rumble, sorry, it's not working tonight. Oh, hold on 1 second, guys. Anyway, good evening, everyone. Hey, Oscar, how are you? Zero Signal, Michael, Gina 4M, Parallax, bye, Franz. Jim, how are you doing? Heard it's been a little interesting with you lately on some of the other streams already, so just a little bit, huh? Merms, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate your support. Yes. And then Mike L, congratulations on being first, because that's what matters at the end of the day. Why is this not working? Yeah, I guess Rumble's not working. I think because I started early. Who really knows? Late. Early. Gay. Early. Chris Kelly. Amateur Iconoclast. Elaine, hello. Toothless, hello. Dinga Dinga, hello. Yes, hope everybody's having a nice night so far. Greater X T. What up? I got into trucking school on Monday, just waiting for this BS weather to clear so I can get driving. Congratulations. It's not a school night tonight for me, so guess we'll do a little bit of a drinky poo there for you. So, anyways, congratulations. I hope it goes well. And if you haven't driven a truck before, or driven something with air brakes, or driven a trailer, it's a bit of experience, but you'll get there. I mean, I kind of did do it for a while when I was in law school, so. Ooh, that's got some kick. So, congratulations again. What kind of White Claw is that? That's not White Claw tonight. That is a little bit of whiskey in with some tea. So, still works. Sir Marhouse says, how many more subs do I need for a new channel emoji? I don't know. Don't know. So, there's some more in the. I mean, even if I had them, I'm not sure what we could do. Although I'd probably leave that open for everybody to make a decision and say, what do you guys think? But I'll have to look into that. Jeff, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I know it's been a little bit since we've had a chance to run into each other. But I know tonight we've got SBF getting out on bail. Some snitching going on his crew. What else do we have here? What else did I say? Harvey Weinstein, yeah, he had a bad day again. Some YouTubers in trouble for violating SEC rules, but not the Paul brothers, because they're too big for that. Sarah Boone is complaining from jail about everything. The closing arguments in the Kari Lake trial, which I thought were very interesting, and I think those reveal quite a bit. And anything else you guys come up with? I'm a boomer about the emojis. Hey, look, I tried. I try. Also, guys, I was going to say, I apologize if I'm breathing in my mouth tonight. My nose is completely gone. I cannot smell or anything out of it. Um, Alpha Fox says, "What up, Playboy?" Mom said to bring some Eggo waffles when you come by tonight. Of course, I will. Sir Marhouse, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate the support, as always. Arash is saying, would you rather fuck your mom or your dad? You have to pick or they both die. Well, I mean, I don't know. Because, I mean, as long as I'm fucking them, because I don't want to get fucked. So, I mean, that kind of turns on the issue there. Not to think about it. Boomer says, hello. Yay. Legal advice saying, I'll drop you a link for my Friday night Christmas eggnog stream. Thank you. I appreciate that. Look forward to it. I won't be drinking eggnog. That stuff, oof. That makes me want to gag just thinking about it. Mimi saying, did SBF get his 250 million bond from the omnibus bill? Shh, he got it from somewhere. Who knows where he got it from? By friends saying the allergy struggles. No, this is not allergy. This is I'm sick with something, some sort of cold or respiratory thing. So, no, I don't have COVID. I'm fine otherwise. Someone saying I thought he had $0. He says that, but he actually had like 100,000 what his allegations were after a while. But we'll get to that. We'll start off. Ninja Bread Mandu says, this right here is something important. Do federal agents dream of non-glowing sheep? That's some philosophical shit right there. Jeez, I'm only 7 minutes in. I'm swearing. Oof, sorry, YouTube. But yeah, whew, that gets your noggin jogging. Philip K. Dick didn't think about that one. He could have. Potentially, what's my favorite fruit? Says Evil Ash. Blackberries. Blackberries are the favorite. They're the best. Jim is saying, don't. Oh, Jim, I don't believe any of that nonsense. Don't worry, brother. You're fine. You're good in my book until it's ever proven otherwise, with like hard proofs. Don't ever worry about that. So, oh, I should take a couple. I'm not scraping the inside of my brain on stream. We're not doing that. So, all right, guys. Well, I guess it's time to get started. We've been screwing around for a little bit. How do I feel about milk? I don't know. It's nutritious and does a body good. Allows me to do this without breaking my fingers bones. I don't know. Oh, blackberry. Mimi saying blackberries. You can just eat them. They come in jam, blackberry pie. Oh, there's so many different ways you can eat them. They're so good, so good. But all right, guys, let's get into it. We're done enough screwing around for now. I guess the first place we'll start off with. I started the list this way. Harvey Weinstein. Yes. So it looks like for Harvey, the pussy's grabbed back. The guy who, as they say here, was a Me Too lightning rod. Oof. Isn't looking good for him. And if he really needs a walker, man, they're gonna get that butt in jail. So Harvey Weinstein was found guilty of rape in an LA trial. 5 years after Me Too started. There were 9 days of deliberation. And he was convicted. So he's already serving prison time, though. in New York. He was already convicted. He's serving 23 years for a rape and sexual assault conviction. And the fact he's 70, well, I mean, he's going to die. I mean, to make it to 93 when you're 70, when you're outside is a pretty big deal. But to do it while you're in prison, nothing's good. It's still not as good as living on the outside. Even though they have to take care of you, it's still not as good as being alive on the outside. Being in prison, there's stress. He might get attacked. Any number of things could happen to him. And just overall, the living conditions are not as good. It wears on you. It takes its toll. 5 years in prison is equivalent to probably more years living on the outside. But when you're older, and if you guys have probably noticed this with your parents or grandparents, it's not a big deal when you're 60 to 65. Okay. But 65 to 70, well, that's certainly a lot changes in a person. Then from 70 to 75, well, a lot changes. Then 75 to 80, whew. I mean, those 5-year gaps and even quicker gaps change and take a lot out of people. So Weinstein, he's probably gonna die. So he's found guilty of rape, forced oral copulation, and another sexual misconduct count involving a woman known as Jane Doe 1. The jury was unable to reach a decision on several counts, notably charges involving, and this is something I don't know if you guys realized, the wife of Governor Gavin Newsom. Like I said, this was a weird trial, considering who one of the victims was. Uh, Sorry about that, guys. Had to catch up on something. So they were unable to reach verdicts on the allegations of another woman, so a mistrial was declared. And if it's a hung jury, mistrial. Now, he was also acquitted of sexual battery made by another woman. So he was acquitted on some counts, hung jury on some, and convicted on others. Could the prosecutor go back and try the counts that the jury was hung on with the hung jury? Yes. You can always go back and retry those. Are they going to? Doubt it. Because here he faces up to 24 years in prison. Now, is that concurrent or consecutive? Well, mainly the decision to determine whether or not your sentences are concurrent or consecutive usually falls to the last judge who sentences you. So in this case, the judge could say, I sentence you to 24 years consecutive to whatever else you're serving. He could say you're serving it right now, or they're going to run together. Who knows? I mean, either way, even if if everything's run concurrent, it's still okay. You get out when you're 94. You're still going to die in prison. You're not getting out. And the idea that there's going to be an appeal, sure, there'll be an appeal and he can afford good attorneys. But once again, appeals are for losers. You're already arguing for the court to overturn something. A jury decided. 2 separate juries made the decisions on. You're not getting out of it. The prosecutors had no immediate comment on the verdict, so they could theoretically retry him, but I doubt they will. It's time for the defendant's reign of terror to end, said the deputy district attorney. It's time for the kingmaker to be brought to justice, which, given what we've learned about Hollywood, he might be the kingmaker right now, but there have been a lot more before him that, led Hollywood into this crazy sexual cabal. So there you go. I guess you took out one guy, but who's going to take his place? And unlike a lot of sexual assault and sex crime cases, there was no forensic evidence or eyewitness accounts of the assaults. The case entirely hinged on the stories and credibility of the 4 women involved. So it's a little different. So there was quite a few people involved. So it just talk about everything that went on. And it's Harvey Weinstein. It sounds like he was really bad. It sounds like he was a real disgusting guy. preying on women, doing the whole casting couch thing, doing a lot of just scuzzy stuff. And it also sounds like he also did some criminal acts too, as far as raping women, forcing himself on them, all kinds of stuff. Now, obviously, Harvey Weinstein's attorneys are going to say this was regret. So yes, they may regret having sex with this ugly and disgusting man, but that's not rape. And he urged them to look at the factual evidence and that they had consensual relationships that were later reframed. Um, if this is what I don't know if I'd say this during closing argument. Believe us, he's saying the witnesses, the victims claim, believe us, we're mad, believe us because we cried. Woof. That would be very careful. I'd be careful to do that. Saying fury does not make fact and tears do not make truth. They must have done better. They must have gone better, and I assume it did because I would not want to make that statement in a closing to a jury. Ugh. So, they brought 4 other women who are not part of the charges, but testified that Weinstein raped or assaulted them, and that was to establish a pattern of sexual predation. So you can bring in people to establish patterns. It's called mimic. Different types of motives, instrumentalities, different ways you might conduct a crime, and that's one of the ways you could bring in those witnesses. Exit Moon says, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Those women who slept with Weinstein knew what they were doing. They were holding out for career advancement. Weinstein did nothing wrong. I could say probably for a lot of them, yes, but I don't doubt he forced himself onto some women. The idea that that never happened, I can't just say that. So, I don't know. Apparently, the jury agrees that he did some bad stuff. So I don't know. Winter Soldier says Jennifer Lawrence is fine with Big Harv. Yeah, a bunch of women were fine with it. They did what they had to do. Pike says it's very normal to seek favors from your rapist. Once again, all I can say is this Hollywood situation is it's a world that we don't live in and operate in, and it's a crazy world. So some of it's just insane. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know at all. It's just I don't know. Let's see here. Let's see if you guys got anything else to say. Winter Soldier saying Weinstein supposedly has Fournier's gangrene. Oof. He's not likely long for this world then. No. Oh no. That's a very bad type of gangrene, guys. He's having a bad day. But once again, he's stuck in prison, so he's already having a bad day to start with. So Bifrons is saying, "Oh my God, he got Jennifer Lawrence." Yeah, he did. And she admits to being involved in doing the thing. So, yes. Arash is saying, "Could he have moved to Israel and avoided charges?" No, because actually, hold on. Israel, U.S. I think I already know the answer, but I'm making sure Google tells me the case. So here's the issue. Israel does not extradite its citizens or nationals unless they committed a crime before they became an Israeli citizen. So I don't know when Harvey Weinstein became an Israeli citizen or had an Israeli passport, if he had one. So he might not be able to do that. He'd have to find a country that doesn't extradite to the U.S., and that's not very many. And for somebody this big, the government might go ahead and do some illegal activity to drag your ass into a courtroom. They will do that at times. So, Bifron saying Israel will ship them back? Maybe. So, I know you did, Sir Marhouse. I'm going to get to that in a second. I will get to that in 1 second. Examoon says Weinstein's probably the prison gang's favorite pay pig. They intimidate him non-verbally, and they get millions sent to their family by Weinstein. Yeah, but somebody like Weinstein's probably in very protected custody, so it's not like he's out on the range. He's not on the tiers, and some dudes are charging him rent, which there are guys who come by and say, "Pay me commissary, I'm going to beat you senseless." And they're basically, it's called collecting rent. He's not likely in a situation where that's happening. So, Matthew Sad is saying like they ship back Timon Roth. Yes, well, once again, that was a similar issue there. He had committed those crimes before he was an Israeli citizen. So, that was really it for Harvey Weinstein. So, happy trails, Harvey. Probably won't hear from you again until you take a turn for the worst. Oh boy. The other news, though, is, well, I guess we'll start with the first thing. Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF. Oh, we got one like on Facebook. Cool. Yeah, we are live on Facebook. I think Rumble's finally working. If it's not, I don't really know. So there we are. Getting to the super chats here. Sir Marhouse for $5. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Sean, do you care to comment about your alleged robbery of light claws I just now pulled out of my hole? No comment. Especially no comment with all this on and this thing going. No comment. Thank you, though. Charlie 18 says, what's up, Sean? Finally something good to listen to. Thank you. So, Dr. Mimo says, just wanted to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody. If you're celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah to you as well. Joe's doing Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, Joe. So, Madcore, hey, how you doing, brother? See you on there. I won't engage with that issue, but so yes, Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, he is now back in the United States, and well, he's got a bit of an issue. Probably not news to everybody, and I'm not surprised by this, but I'm not sure a lot of you were surprised by this either. FTX execs pled guilty while throwing Freeman under the bus. So if you guys remember, that's Caroline Ellison, the head of Alameda Research, which we learned through the documents was entirely an entity that ran FTX, and FTX was meant and ran to finance it. And then the FTX co-founder, Gary Wang, they both pled guilty yesterday, and that's when SBF was brought back to the United States. So guess what they did? They're snitching out. They are running a gossip column. And I love this article because it is pretty much how I look at it. It looks like while SBF was engaging in a media tour where he said, "Gee shucks, how could I have ever made such a mistake?" Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. His partners in crime are cutting a deal with the feds. Yes, they were. So they've already pled guilty to multiple criminal charges, including multiple counts of wire fraud. So Gary Wang pled guilty to wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, commodities fraud, and conspiracy to commit securities fraud. I mean, 29 years old, you've already got that many federal felonies under your belt. Like, hats off to you, brother. Although it sounds like SBF and this guy met at a high school math camp. Like, whew, what a couple of dorks. Maximum 50 years in prison. Now, hopefully, he's hoping if I plea out and I agree to cooperate, I don't face all 50. Maybe I get 10. Maybe I get 15. Maybe. We'll see. So Caroline Ellison, who was reported romantically involved with SBF, and I'm pretty sure there's a sex tape out there, but I don't know if it ever got released. And given her, I'm not sure I'd want to see it, but hey, after what I've seen on LiveLeak and Rotten.com and Ogrish and everything over the years, what's one more thing? She pled guilty to 7 charges, including wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. That's a big one. Money laundering is a big no-no. The feds will burn you alive for that. Whew. She faces 110 years in prison. So hopefully she's like, maybe I can get out in 20. So good job. But hey, that's a smart move on their part. Given what's going on here, they need to snitch out. They're, I don't like people snitching, snitches sleep in ditches and all that. But you can't face them. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. There's no way out of this. You're not convincing a jury that, like, oh, look, we did nothing wrong. We're nice boys. That ain't happening. That ain't happening, kids. You cannot do that at all. That ain't happening. So it was the smart move on their part. Smart move on their part. If I was their attorney, I would have had to recommended it to them because I don't know what else. I don't know why else. Yeah. So, we got a new member, Parallax. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your support. Nothing like sucking up to the teacher. Thank you. Merms gifting 10 memberships. Thank you. I'm sure everybody who gets one is very appreciative as well. So thank you, Merms. And Sir Marhouse, thank you as well for gifting out those memberships. I'm sure everybody who gets one is very appreciative as well. So Miss Dinga Dinga says, I knew you were a nice Jewish boy, Sean. Yes, thank you. You caught me. So let's see here. The first to snitch gets the deal. Yes, but also he's at the top. That's the guy they really want. And they, who knows what they're going to do. But yes, first snitch gets a deal. And while Bankman was running around trying to do all this stuff, Caroline's attorneys were talking, which was smart, which was 100% smart. Let's see. What else did you guys say? Madcore is saying, guys, if you haven't watched Madcore, I know he's on Twitch. I think he does Rumble now too. Great guy to watch. Says it's been good coming back after a 2-month break. Yeah, I know it's been a little while. Hope everything was well. Hope you enjoyed the break and got to recharge. The first show starts at 7. Does that mean a.m.? Tomorrow. So, guys, if you do give him a look, you might like what you see there. Sweet Tooth is saying, why do you think he came back without fighting it? I mean, an extradition, there's very little you can do. When it comes to extradition, there's generally 2 arguments you can make. 1, I'm not the guy you're looking for. 2, you're and this is generally not it. You're extraditing me for a crime that, country A does not recognize or state A doesn't recognize. So, for example, if I went to North Korea and I ripped the banner off the wall. And North Korea said, we want to extradite Sean. And the U.S. is going to say, like, lol, get wrecked. That's not a crime we're going to recognize. But similarly, like in Britain, if I got in trouble in Britain and I was on Twitter in Britain and I typed out the N-word, or I typed out something really racist there, they got the British all upset. You know, that would be probably here in America. I can make the argument, well, Judge, that goes against the First Amendment. This is insane. And the court probably say, yeah, we're not going to extradite for that. But I commit murder in Britain. They're going to say, yeah, sure. Here you go. Here's your guy. So really, extradition is very much a formality. So also, and more importantly for SBF, he's in a Bahamian prison. I don't want to spend a day in a prison in a foreign country. I mean, except for the way I could probably bribe my way out or get attacked and get out. I think he understands now that's a good way to end up dead is staying in the Bahamas. So he got the hell out of there. So. Yes, switchy time. Yes. Glock check, everybody. Glock check. So we're going to get back to this real quick. It's nice how they try to spin this now. He was a very public supporter of Democrats and a private supporter of Republicans. When you pay off everybody, nobody wants to prosecute you. It's a good way to make friends. So, anyway, this is just the basics about the SEC claims that Wang built the back door for SBF that allowed him to funnel the FTX customer funds to Alameda. So that's how Wang filters into this and was involved. And then they go back and they talk about a lot of people who were involved, like Kevin O'Leary, which, you know, the scumbag, you know, pump and dump. Yeah, I'm sure yeah. Anyway, yes, they snitched. They snitched out hard. You can't blame them. So that makes a ton of sense. J-Rock saying she's incredibly ugly. I mean, she might be, but she might be ugly. It's just, it's, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, guys. Somebody, they got along before and they were all doing stuff. She is quite the beauty, says Uncle Bubba. How are you doing, by the way, Uncle Bubba? Boomer says, unless you are a Dem and connected to the DOJ, you can do whatever the F you want. Pretty much. Tack saying, what's up? How are you doing, Tack? Hope you're doing well. Apparently everybody's a bro in here tonight, so that's nice. Uncle Bubba saying, can he snitch on her? I mean, she's already admitted her involvement. So unless he knows about more crimes that the feds don't know about, he's got nothing to give because she's already, when you do she had to make a proffer. And a proffer is she had to outline her involvement and she already had to tell the feds, here's what I did, here's what I know, here are all the things I did that were illegal. Because when you make those agreements, even at the local level, if you don't tell everything, fine, we won't prosecute you for ABC. But if you don't tell us about D, sorry, D's fair game. So you have to tell everything. You have to tell everything. Otherwise, you get burned. So Carolyn was probably smart, and that's why she's facing 110 years. She told them everything. So if she did that, SBF has no cards to play. So no, the idea he's got something on her, very unlikely at this point. And very likely she gave them all the tea, all the tea, all the data. So did Wong. So there's nothing they can do. Nothing he can do about that now. So Zero Signal gifted 10 memberships. Thank you very much. I'm sure everybody who gets one is going to be very appreciative of that. So, Gypsy Soul says, hi, long time no see. Good to see you. Good to see you. Jesus loves everyone. Hey, Snorlax, hello. Yep, she's already snitching. Wrestler Town for $20. Thank you. You're not going to find him. SBF's got a 2-day head start on you, which is more than he needs. Friends in every village from here to Sudan. Speaks a dozen languages, knows every custom. He'll blend in, disappear. You'll never see him again. You guys get the Indiana Jones. Quicks, this is actually very good question. Very, very good question. I'm glad you asked this. Playing devil's advocate here, would it have been wise for SBF to bankroll the legal defense of all of them? Seems like that wedge is what brought him down. No. So SBF could pay for everybody's attorneys, but they all have their own attorney. They certainly all wouldn't use the same attorney because the likelihood of them possibly turning on each other would be very high. There's a Supreme Court case on that. It's called Brunton v. California, which outlines it's not a good idea, and no attorney would do that because there is a very high risk of these guys turning on each other. But just because you pay for an attorney, so for example, if a parent pays for their child's attorney, the parents they don't have the client relationship. The attorney's client is the defendant, not the person paying. So I've had that happen before. An adult kid to screw up, mom and dad pay for it. That's great. Thank you for the money. Cool. Oh, thank you. Put it in my trust account. You're my client. They can say whatever they want. They can demand to be involved in, like, oh, we want to know what's going on. Don't care. My client's that guy sitting in front of me. So I get what you're saying there, but that's one of the first rules of an analysis class. One of the first things you do is say, who is your client? Your client's not always the one paying for you. Your client's the one you are representing. Who is it in court you're actually going to court with? That's your client. Nobody's all but mine says Martin Shkreli was going over the charges. Oh, cool. Cool. That would be if he's got a YouTube, I'm actually very curious. I might try to look into that tomorrow. That'd be very interesting. Be very, very interesting. Pike says if they catch you in many crimes, they can invalidate your deal. Sure. Or they can just say, fine, that deal's valid, but we're going to nail you for the other stuff. So that's why you have to be careful. And she's probably told them everything. Well, you guys are like chugging along. Here are the questions. Good. Thank you. Hey, great questions so far tonight. Quicks for 199 saying, great to know. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. That is it's all too common, especially even in juvenile court cases. Little Junior gets in trouble for some crimes and I get hired to represent Junior. I get to sit the kid comes sit in my office with his parents. I say, look, this is one of the few times in your life you are completely in charge. Do you want your parents to sit in the room here with you? And the kid says no. Guess what? Mom and dad have to go sit outside while I talk to them. And that happens every once in a while. TN says the girlfriend was spotted in Manhattan yucking it up. Yeah, I'm sure she is. Thanking God she got a deal. But SBF did make it back to the United States. And let's see what happened to him, because this is very interesting. He got a $250 million bail. Where did he get that money? He didn't have $250 million. Where did it come from? I mean, like, seriously. Sirs. Like, sirs. Like the real tea. Like, tea. Like, where did that come from? Where? I mean, that's a lot of money to pay just to kill the guy. So you can get him out of jail to kill him. So, yeah, my God, my God. Um, Examoon says, and this I wanted to bring this up. I saw it earlier. The guards at jails might be getting a fat donation to their kids' college fund if they treat them well, though. Someone like Weinstein could pay for extra stuff like a decent mattress. Oh, for Weinstein, yeah, sure, he could, but it only gets you so far. Texas, Tack. I don't know what your last. Yes. Oh, his mom. Well, we're gonna. I don't know where she got that money from. Is my point. Nobody has that kind of money. So, this was the funny part, though. He was told, "Sorry, you got to go live with your mom and dad." So he has to go live with his parents. Um, so he gets to wear an electronic monitoring bracelet, going for mental health counseling, and limit his movements to the Northern District of California, which is a very big geographical area. I can't believe he got that, though. He should be sitting in frickin' jail. It was absolute freaking joke here, guys. Absolute joke. The bail was secured thanks to a deal between FTX XCO's legal team that finally got Bankman free to agree to extradition. Now, certainly that was part of it, saying, look, if you agree to extradition, we're not going to. That's also typically a thing. If you agree to extradition, when you come back, we're not going to set you like a $40 billion bond. Although for him, given this and given, I guarantee he's a flight risk. So, oh. So, and I'm not sure. CNBC noted that the fraudulent parents are required to use the equity in the home to satisfy the bail. Well, we do learn that FTX did use that funnel that money into buying personal properties for people, but I'm surprised the feds didn't seize all those properties because ill-gotten gains. So the parents are able to use all that to get him out, which usually you can't do that in a federal case. So it is interesting. Meme Copium says bail coin. Yes, yes. Very true. Very true. Oh, Mr. Swiggle says China is bailing him out. Um, yeah, they put up their Palo Alto house, but that's still 250. It's not even worth 25 million, I bet. So, Michelle's saying, wait, what if your client is a small child like 10? My client is the child. Now, at that point, you're getting to the range of like, what's going on? What type of case are we dealing with? But yeah, ultimately, they're the client. Now, it depends what type of case is going on. Ice Cold Ombre says Zelensky dropped his wallet on the way out of the White House. Very likely too. Yes, given all the money that was funneled around. So, one bucket saying they have to pay 250K or the full 250 million. Actually, you know what? We can check online. We can go to Pacer and see. But if you're thinking 10%, 10% of 250 million would be 25 million. So, um, let's see. I think it was Southern District. Was it SDNY he was at? Yeah, so he was SDNY. Let's go here. Southern District of New York. Document filing system. Let's see here. Query. Query. Oh, yep, here we go. All right. Let's switch this over. You guys can watch me play on Pacer. Great loaner. We'll get to that. So let's go here. All right, guys, if you haven't seen this before, this is what Pacer, the federal court filing system, looks like. You can always look up stuff going on. Oh, crap. We were right there. So these are some of the other things that were filed against Bankman. Let's go with USA versus Bankman Fried. Docket report. Run report. So you can see here's all the different things he has here. Also, we talked about his felony charges. There's Carolyn Ellison. It's all the defendants, sealed indictment, entry minutes. Let's look to today. Okay, so here we go. And hopefully you guys can see this. All right, so here we go. All right. Yes, it's a 1999 style website. It's the government. But also, you don't need it to be fancy. Okay, so here we go. What? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you being gay? All right. All right, guys, so here you go. Here's what this stuff looks like. So he's got the time of presentment is at 105 today. Agreed conditions of release, a $250 million personal bond secured by cash property of the parents' home in Palo Alto, restricted travel to the Southern or Eastern District, solely for court appearances in the Northern District of California. Surrender of travel documents, meaning he turned over his passport. His pretrial supervision is going to be strict. It's going to be supervised by the Federal Probation Department. Mental health evaluations by pretrial services. Local monitoring technology is directed. Defendant not to possess firearms or destructive devices. Yeah, he's probably going to want one, though, when people come after him. Defendant's release on his own signature, plus the following conditions: signature appearance, and surrender of passport and installation of electronic monitor. So there you go. Two non-parent sureties. Oh, here's how we know. Two non-parent sureties assign bonds and lesser amounts to be agreed to. The defendant to live in parents' home in Palo Alto in Northern District of California, and to be supervised from there. So, pretrial service office may exercise discretion to allow defendant to leave home for exercise. The defendant not to open new lines of credit, open a business, or enter financial transactions in excess of $1,000 without the pre-approval of the government or the court, except to pay legal costs and fees. The equity interest in the parent's home to be posted by January 12th. Okay. So his speedy trial time is waived till 1/3/2023. Signed by the magistrate judge. So that's where things are. Because of $250 million, he doesn't. But his parents, there's multiple sureties, so Dark Lotus saying this is shady as fuck. Hey, you know what? That's the beauty of money. It allows you to do a lot of things. So Zero Signal says these fools of money out on bail. I've been doing whatever to sneak me out of the country. You're gonna have to figure out how to get out. Good luck. I mean, it's not as easy as you think. Yes, having the money is a way to do it. And Robert Barnes has talked about it. There are ways if you're dedicated, but you know, when the entire world's looking for you, the world's not a big enough place to hide. Excuse me. But yeah, when people are looking for you and people are hunting you, you can't hide forever. I mean, even Bin Laden can't hide forever. And also, if the government's not looking for you, the people you stole money from, I mean, God knows who lost a couple $1 million might be trying to kill him. So if the government's not looking for you, bad people are looking for you. So it's in the omnibus, y'all. Mimi saying easy to hide the 250 million and 1.7 trillion. Could easily be. Remember saying a shell account? Yeah, there's multiple ways this probably could have happened. It could easily happen a couple different ways, but it just makes you worried about where he got the money from. Dark Low saying Elsa paid 250K. Yep. Truck Golfer saying good evening, champ. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Zero fucks his query. Bass says so the bail money doesn't go to creditors. Nope. That's going to go towards the government when they prosecute him and then they fine him and penalize him. The government's going to get that money. Isn't it grand? It's a great racket. And the government gets to do that. Yeah, so you guys are not aware of Pacers stuff there. Yeah, it's bad. It's rough. Arash saying, do you scam people or big banks? Everything in between. Yes. So a lot of people he ripped off. A lot of little people and a lot of big people. Oh, Boring Sandwich says he exposed an FBI PDF ring. So they retaliated over Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. So where can you go with no extraditions? Well, actually here. Here you go. This will be so there's a couple of countries that are known to refuse U.S. extradition request. Bolivia, Ecuador. I'm not sure you want to go to either of those. Iceland, okay. Nicaragua, ugh. Switzerland. But I'd be careful about trusting the Swiss government. Venezuela, you got to get into Venezuela. Or Zimbabwe. Do you really want to go to any of those places other than Switzerland? Probably not. There's also the Maldives. There's a couple, but you really want to go to like anywhere you could go that doesn't have an extradition treaty is not somewhere you want to go. It's not somewhere you want to go. It's going to be a shithole country. You are going to hate it there. You might get killed there. And toothless is exactly what I'm saying. No extradition just means they could send in a CIA snatch team to black bag you, rendition you, drag you back into a government facility somewhere and say, oh, we found them. And courts have said they don't care how you get brought back in U.S. jurisdiction. Doesn't matter. Private parties could do it. So any of these people you scam money from, they could hire Blackwater to go track you down. Well, Blackwater's whatever name they go by, or Triple Canopy, DynCorp, any group of, retired pipe hitters looking to make money, go track you down, grab you, and bring you back. Although if I'm paying that kind of money, I'd probably say, go out, get them, and dig a hole somewhere. So, Chris Knobloch saying, I hear Russia's nice this time of year. Yeah, Russia would be a good one, but so. Wrestler Town said it. Yeah. If you run except the modest life, homesteading around tarantulas, yep. Not having anything at all. It would be a awful, awful life. So, one bucket says Putin's looking for a guy to new guy to manage his finances. Yeah. So, there you go. Also, sorry for the coughing, guys. I know it's not the best. Rick Nikita for $2. Thank you. Says or his Holy Inquisition. Yes, you cannot escape the Spanish Inquisition. Toothless is saying you'd have better odds just going to live in an Appalachian mountain in a cave. Hey, just like Eric Rudolph did for quite a few years. Still, he got caught too. So, once again, being on the run doesn't always, Adolf Eichmann got caught too. So, I mean, that just shows you. If they want to find you, they probably will find you. I think like the only guy who ever really got away with it was Klaus Barbie. So, Sweet Tooth is saying, are there any updates on Putin's health? I assume he's fine because we heard all the way back in March, the Russians are running out of ammo. Putin's got cancer. Putin's got AIDS. Putin's got, over the summer, Putin's got rectal cancer and it's eating him alive from the inside out. And Putin's got super AIDS. He's got dementia. Any day now, when the Russians are going to run out of weapons. None of that's happened. So, no, I don't know. I assume he's healthy. Healthy enough for a 70-some-year-old guy. So, DB Cooper, yeah, but there's, DB Cooper may have died in the mountains when he jumped. So, I don't know if that's really any better. Break your leg in the Cascades and die of exposure. That's not how I want to go. So, yes, Lamau, he has ass cancer. They didn't catch Mengele either. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there are a couple. Lily, that said, the Pakistanis knew where he was. I agree with this. But I will say the Pakistanis knew where bin Laden was the whole time. The ISI, those corrupt sons of bitches in the Pakistani intelligence service, knew where he was. But I don't know if we always knew. So, Toothless is saying McAfee got away with it. As much as I'd love for that to be true, no. No, he didn't make it. Sadly, he went to that ANCAP dream in the sky. He lived where we dared to dream. So, yeah, Uncle Ted was, Dark Lotus saying Uncle Ted was a recluse. He was too smart for his own good. He was, but also his brother was a snitch. His brother snitched him out. So, Sir Marhouse says heaven is a libertarian monarchy. I hope so. Oh, all right. So, dealing with further SEC stuff, well, this is where misrepresentations of what you do involving YouTube and Twitter can come back to bite you in the ass. 8 social media influencers in a $100 million stock manipulation scheme promoted on Discord and Twitter. I also think some of these guys are on YouTube also. So the SEC announced charges against 8 people who used Twitter and Discord to manipulate exchange-traded stocks. Now, yes. Well, what about the Paul brothers and what they did with like MILF and Yummy and all those coins? Well, those aren't technically securities, but you know what? They won't, they'll screw up again at some point. Maybe, who knows? Karma will visit them. So, 7 of these guys promoted themselves as successful traders and cultivated followings on Twitter and Discord. And then they would encourage people to buy stocks and say these stocks were in their portfolios. posting price targets that indicated they were buying, holding, or adding. Although when the share prices rose in those, they immediately sold them without ever disclosing that they were selling. That's known as a pump and dump, guys. You're not allowed to do that, especially if you're advertising things like that to people that you're going to put yourself out there. That's not good. That is not good at all. If you didn't know, this is very illegal. Oh boy. Oh boy. Garrett pays successful traders like Jim Cramer. Sir Marhouse says the Paul brothers are a disgrace to Ohioans. Yeah. But hey, that's, Ohio makes ass kickers, whether they're cringe or based. They're ass kickers. Bass is saying it's cynic v United States. No, please. We're not going down that road again. Oh. Dwayne Mansell saying a lot of damn rug pulls in the NFT business. Influencers pumping and dumping all the time. Yep. Stephen Wolbrook says, my credo has always been pump and dump. Tighten up on me here. Like, for most things in life, pump and dump is not a bad strategy. When it comes to securities, not a good idea. Parallax says Ohio makes cringe for sure. Hey, at least I admit to being my part in that. It's just like Starship Troopers. I'm doing my part. So, these guys took advantage of their social media to get novice investors, and they fed them a steady diet of bullshit. And then they made profits of $100 million. Jeez. So here are the guys that did it: PJ Matlock, Mr. Zach Morris, Oh Hey Tommy, Notorious Alerts, Hugh Henney, Laid Back, Ultra Calls. And then there was another one, Dip Daddy, who was aiding and abetting by co-hosting the podcast, which he promoted them as expert traders and gave them a forum to do it. Now, why is he in trouble? Because he worked with them in concert and regularly he worked with them in doing the sales. So if he happened to just have these guys on and they were all scamming and he didn't know, that'd be one thing. But he was actively involved in it. So good job, guys. You're going to be facing possibly going to prison over this. So this is just more of the SEC doing a press release. This is all a bunch of glad handing and how important they are and what they do. So there you go. Don't go on social media and start promoting stocks. I will never do that. I won't want to promote stock advice. I am not a financial genius. I made money off Shiba coin. I made like $1,000. That's my claim to fame. I rode that rocket to the moon, or as they say in the Deutsch, auf der Mond. Just whoo. That's my financial success. Don't follow me. Porcelain Thunder says what? No Nancy Pelosi on that list? Yes. I see what you did there. Sir Maha says, where are your Trump trading cards? Wait, I thought you bought them. You're going to buy me some. Just shilling for grounds coffee. Yeah. Boners and sweatpants. Sean is a financial advisor. You should listen to him. No, you should not. Do not listen to me. I am a half retarded monkey that figures out how to wear pants and not drown myself in the shower every day. Do not trust me for that. No, Arash, we're not doing that. No, we're not. I'm not reading that one either. Oh, Mr. Squiggles for $50. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Have a safe and Merry Christmas, and we don't see you next week. Happy New Year. You guys will see me next week. Next week's pretty laid back. So, no, thank you so much, Squiggles. I appreciate it a lot. No, we're doing stuff, guys, and I got some stuff working on, so it'll be very interesting. Tell us about Ethereum and other crypto. I mean, Ethereum and Bitcoin, everything else is kind of like a shit coin. Be careful. Be careful in all of it. I mean, it's gambling just like everything else. It just, and just like in Vegas and Wall Street, all the guys doing it smell like scotch and do coke. So is it really any that different? I don't know. Ashley Casey says, are you ready for the storm we're supposed to get? Yes, we shall see. We shall see what happens. Although I don't think anything's going to happen. Mike L says you're not wearing pants right now. Well, I'm wearing shorts, so they're short pants. Yes. Yeah, Sir Marhouse says kicks and door. Yeah, like SEC open up. Yeah, that'd be rough. Shayla, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Thank you. Mr. Squiggles for 2 months. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You said we're storming Area 51. No, I did not. I said that's a bad idea. It's a great way to find a landmine. All right. So next thing here, where are we at on the list? Oh, Sarah Boone. Great. Oh. You're welcome, Andrew. Good luck, brother. Good brother. Brother. Good luck, brother. One bucket says Malcox. Oh, SBF crypto is the Wild West. Yes. So, all right. Sarah Boone. Well, we don't know what's happening. Why don't we know what's happening? There was a court hearing today. I did not get the chance to find out from the court what happened. Why? Because I was busy. I actually had to go do court stuff today. So I will try to call the court tomorrow and figure out what's going on. What happened, though, is her attorney filed a motion to withdraw. Why? Well, because there was irreconcilable differences between her and it said his family, which I'm not sure if he meant to say her family. That could be a typo. But you never know. So, once again, we don't really know. And that's when you withdraw from a case as an attorney, you don't air it out. And what do I mean by airing things out? You don't put out there all the problems. You put out just the bare minimum to get into the motion. Now, if the court may ask you on the record what's going on, fine. But you generally don't air out all the issues in a motion because that's not proper. That's not fair to everybody. So I don't know what these irreconcilable differences are. So in the meantime, though, we see that today there was a hearing. And at the hearing today was Sarah Boone, now present, represented by David Verrett. Who's David Verrett? I don't know. Frank Bankowitz, counsel, not present. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, they had a status hearing today at 11 a.m. Don't know what happened with it, and it doesn't show in the court records. Now, what did her attorney say? And this is where I forgot to bring this up when I was talking about it. This is her attorney currently, Frank Bankowitz, saying that he's asking the court to withdraw from this case. He says, in July, I was appointed. There's irreconcilable differences. Okay, well, we don't know what those are. Sometimes you get defendants who want you to do things that are against the rules. Sometimes you get defendants who don't want to listen and say, look, buddy, your case sucks. You shouldn't go to trial. And they get mad because you like, no, the evidence is what it is, and they get mad. Sometimes they don't want to face reality. But we don't know for sure what happened. So we don't know what the irreconcilable differences were. But that's how you file it. It's very basic. And then the court can inquire. So we also got from Sarah. We got a letter from Sarah. Oh my God, you guys are ridiculous. Michelle, as Sarah Boone, she's the guy, she left her boyfriend in a suitcase and he suffocated. So, yeah. But Sarah also wrote the court a letter. And it is interesting. We'll read through it. Now, this is very common when people write to the court. Guess what happens? It's an ex parte communication, so the court notifies all parties. That way, it's no longer ex parte. More importantly, the judge never receives this. His court staff looks at it, and then they notify everybody. So now this is on the record. And you can see it's written on notebook paper. So this is typical of jailhouse correspondence and motions. From Sarah Boone, it says summary of progress. Since appointed by the court for Frank Bankowitz, attorney number 6, July 11, 2022, it's been 21 weeks and counting, ... Since last spoke to Frank Bankowitz, attorney number 6, August 22nd, 15 weeks, 105 days and counting. I don't know if that's true or not. If it's true, that's not good. That's a long time to not be talking to your client. So I don't think that's the case. Now, is this me telling you that, does this mean people in jail might lie about things? Yeah. Have I had that happen before? Yep. I know it's shocking, isn't it? So yes, she's talking about that. That if that really did happen, that's not good. You got to be in touch with your people. There was a pretrial conference, no response from the attorney of the court. October 25th was 6 weeks ago. So it sounds like she's saying, I have no idea what happened. Nobody's told me. Since my last letter to the judge regarding my MIA attorney and the case was November 3rd. 4 weeks, 32 days and counting. Not gonna lie. When I've had people write these saying, oh, my attorney hasn't seen me in like whatever. I go over and sometimes they're idiots. Like, dude, we talked last week. And also, yes, I see you every other week. I see you every 2 weeks. Like, there's nothing to tell you necessarily. We're waiting. If you need to get a hold of me, have your people call me. Or call me from the jail and it says, you have a collect call from Bob at the Cuyahoga County Jail, the Lake County Jail. I don't take the call, but I know you want to talk to me. So I will make an effort to come see you or video visit with you or whatever we have to do at the time. This is where we start getting the passive aggressiveness. Total hours of time represented by Frank Bankowitz. 3,528. Total hours of time spent with client, Sarah Boone, 2. I find that very hard to believe he's only spent 2 hours with her. I really do. Especially on the verge of getting ready for trial like this. I mean, that doesn't make much sense. That doesn't make much sense at all to me. No, hold on one second. So it's interesting how she writes, where's my attorney? Where are you, Judge Wooten? I understand the holiday mode everyone is on as we inmates sit and wait for it to pass. Okay, that part's true. When you get to this time of the year, within a week or two of Christmas, Ain't nobody like having court. Ain't nobody doing anything. No one likes to have trials. Nobody likes to do anything. Guys, that's the tea. I'm not gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie to you. Nobody wants to do anything. Nobody wants to do anything. I mean, especially this past week. This week, I did my best to try to schedule as few things as I could this week. I've had other things set, try to resolve them early or move them. Well, speaking of the week before Christmas, I would like to try to relax. And next week, I've got a couple of things. It's a semi busy week, and I'll be in the office all week. But this week, I try to lay back and chill out at home. Next week, chilling out at the office, relaxing. So that's not really, like I said. Sorry guys, I was trying to read up real quick. So that really wasn't that's not unseen. Like everything kind of slows down, and then in the week after Christmas, New Year's, I mean, like how much stuff's really going to happen? Nothing. So yes, the inmates do have to sit and wait for it to pass. But before we come to the end of yet another year, almost 3 for me in the jail. She's been in jail for 3 years. It would be respectable of the court, yes, because what you need to do is demand the court. Demand things of the court and be an ass, be a Karen about it. To please advise the status and location of my attorney foremost, and also provide any real progress of my case, which is difficult to do, and further without an attorney. Nonetheless, after being appointed so many, I thought hopefully the level of dysfunction would be lessened. Unfortunately, today I'm sadly mistaken, and I feel I've been severely misled. Even more unfortunate seems to be the lack of representation from any party of my case other than myself. Look at the numbers. In the meantime, and in preparation for the upcoming status hearing on 12/20 at 10:45, which I just received the notice for, thank you for the inclusion. Once again, acting like an asshole is not going to help you here. I am in the process of writing to our governor regarding the mismanagement of my case and the multiple added obstacles and deterrents I'm experiencing, trying to avoid any further time consuming hindrances or setbacks going forward. Yes, go ahead and write the governor. I'm sure he's going to help you figure that out, Sarah. That is going to be a great idea. Good job. You're going to sound like every sovereign citizen nutter if anybody in his office reads it. That said, some of the major legitimate concerns of mine are the violations of my constitutional rights, the degree of neglect and nonchalant approach by everyone in my case to substantially progress. Okay, I think she's trying to say the fact that things are dragging on. But when you get to attorney number 7, it's not the attorneys. I mean, you can run into one asshole, but if you run into a bunch of assholes, it's you. And Sarah, honey, yeah, I know you're out there. Somebody out there knows you. Like, let's be honest, Sarah. Let's be honest. It's you, baby girl. It's you. You got to suck it up. You got to work with your attorneys here. Okay, you're not getting out. They probably have all recommended the same thing to you, so take that as a hint. This ain't going to be easy. Maybe they're telling you to take a plea. Might not be a bad idea because they know all the evidence. We don't. Just saying, Sarah. Just saying. Just saying. And the illegal non-permissive release and distribution by the Orange County Sheriff's Department of crucial confidential case files, videos, photographs, documents pertinent to my case, which I have not even seen or know about. They're allowed to do that, Sarah. They're allowed to release things to the public. The fact you haven't seen them isn't their fault. Your attorneys have all that discovery. They are allowed to release things. Everyone knows more than I do about my case. Well, I mean, ultimately, you know what happened because you were there. But yes, sounds like, yes, by your claim, if you haven't seen your attorneys. Now, as a result, it's impossible to choose a jury that will be impartial, fair, and uninfluenced by all the mutated, exaggerated, and hype sensationalism. Okay, now she's making an argument about venue. Can't address that now. That is something, though, her attorney should address, and I think probably should. I don't know how big it is down there, but I assume it's a pretty big story down there. Yeah, a venue issue. But as we've heard from Robert Barnes, and you need polling, you need a lot to do that because it's really hard to change venue. It is almost impossible to change venue nowadays. Further, she goes, this is a significant reason I requested a change of venue previously. At this point, it will make no difference. Well, you asked for that, then you say there's nowhere I'm not known. The premature unfair judgment by everyone is wrongfully and inappropriately already been made. Okay. Well, you just admitted it doesn't really matter, so it's not a great way to make an argument. I haven't even seen my discovery or know where my attorney is. My sixth attorney. Once again, I'm hitting X to doubt. Not only am I the other party in my case, still in the dark with everything, I am blind in the dark. This is wrong and fair, especially for a still proud citizen of the United States of America, and unacceptable. There's more to everything, much more, and in which I've been patient to an extreme to explain, interpret, and educate what now seems to be the whole world. Yes, I want to tell my story. Okay, great. And yes, if this really is happening to her, this is a travesty. But I doubt it. I really, like I said, guys, hold on here. Press X to doubt, kids. Press X to doubt. Just the odds are not true. I am hopeful the governor will be untable the chaos and mistreatment. Sarah, honey, that ain't happening. No one else seems to be available or willing to abide by the protocol of our justice system and rightfully, eagerly apply themselves. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. I'm still hoping these aforementioned topics can be further discussed at the hearing on the 20th. And in which I'm bringing everyone's attention prior. I have not heard from my court-appointed attorney to date, so I'm unaware of what else may be on the docket. It's time to finally move forward and in all the right ways. Well, it's a nice way to end it, Sarah. Happy holidays, Sarah. Sarah Boone. And then she says, Mr. Bankowitz, I'm also sending you a direct copy to you in case the court and or judge is not therefore giving no reason of any unsurety on my ongoing concerns regarding having no communication from you in any manner for almost 4 months. I believe the court and or judge would have sent copies to you of all my letters to them. But since I've been unsuccessful in receiving a response or update by their side also, I'm taking it upon myself to make sure everyone is aware that I'm sitting here waiting on you. Once again, I highly doubt that's the case. Please respond. I look forward to seeing you at the hearing, if not before then, with very much overdue and anticipated progress. Thank you, Sarah Boone. Bass says she spelled governor wrong. Yes. Okay, great. That's the critical thing there. I'm glad you got that. You guys are something else. Jeez. Excuse me? Sounds like X that Sean pressed. Yep. Let's see here. Sounds like she's thinking about representing herself, says Selena. Maybe. Luke is saying, how do you address this shit? Because it's going to happen with every attorney. I mean, here's the thing. Yes, on the eve of trial, as you get closer and closer to trial, somebody's in jail, you meet with them more and more and more and more. You deal with every other client anyway. But when they're out, they come to your office anytime. Issue is when they're in jail, you have to go see them. Also, there might be time restrictions. There might be issues with movements, jail rotation, staff rotations, feeding, all kinds of crap that make it hard for you to get in. Some jails have very strict times, so you have to schedule them. Some places I can just walk up to and go in. It really depends where you're at. Jim is saying, it's kind of fucked up, though, considering that whole innocent until proven guilty thing. Yeah, but we have to assume everything she's saying is true, which, once again, I don't buy that. I find that very hard to believe. If it is, then, oh yeah, these guys should be all, hounded and ran through the streets for being pieces of shit. But I really doubt that's what's happening here. I don't buy really any of it. So, the pinned comment says Sean's ruble. Yeah, somebody misspelled it once, and we're leaving it alone. It's a ruble now. I'll take rubles. You super chat me in rubles, great. Go ahead, Tavarish. You don't have to apologize either. Just pajolsta. So, I doubt our attorneys are being quiet, as she's the one that usually keeps it zipped. Oh. Ow. Ow. The Pike case is saying a good defense attorney should poke holes in their client's story before the prosecution does a court. Sure. Once again, we have to believe her that they've never met with her, and I highly doubt that. Maybe not as much to her liking, but I can't believe they've only met with her 2 hours in the past couple of months, and they're less than a month. They're like 45 days out from trial. That would be absolutely insane. I would never do that. At the very least, I always try to tell people like every other week, sometimes every 2 to 3 weeks, but never more than that. Sir Marhouse saying, I'm visiting my sister at Walsh in a couple of weeks. What's fun up there? I don't know. The Rock Hall, I guess, if you like it. It kind of sucks. I don't know. I mean, the museums are really good. The Museum of Art's very, very nice. I like it. It's nice to go to. So, sounds gay. Might not go now. Go when it's nice out. All right. Last thing, the Kari Lake election case. I know we covered that a couple nights ago. Kurt helped me out. Yes, Kari Lake filed an election challenge, made a bunch of claims. The court only allowed 2 to go forward. On Wednesday, Kari Lake's team presented their case. Today was for Katie Hobbs as herself, also the Maricopa County election officials to present their case. Then they had closing arguments. And I'm not going to show all of Kari Lake's closing arguments because, yeah, they're going to say, great, we really think it should be overturned. It's very interesting, the closing arguments from the defense. I think that's far more appropriate. And it's also, it's the other side advocating for it. Now, I will say from the start, I don't think there's enough here to overturn everything, but this did demonstrate that this county was absolutely fucked up in what it did. They had no chain of custody. They had these like third-party companies running out collecting ballots, which were involved with another third-party company. And if you work for the third-party company, you could come in and throw your ballot into the pile like on your own. like you didn't have to go cast it officially. None of that makes any sense at all. People were dicking with the printers. I mean, if these guys weren't malicious, it's like a fucking retard convention. So that doesn't make anything look better. But it was interesting to hear people have to admit to all this stuff under oath. And it, like I said, it's what was said by the defense that I think is critical here, because they also say one thing I think is super, super fucked up, regardless of what side you're on. But the idea that you can never have an election challenge go forward, I think there was some validity that, hey, stuff isn't adding up. We should look at it. So we looked at it and it looks like, yeah, there really isn't anything there. Do I think Kari Lake's going to win? No. Has she presented enough evidence to satisfy me? No. If I was the judge, I wouldn't overturn it. But they did Richard Barris dirty. Nah, Richard Barris held his own pretty good. It's just, hey, he was willing to admit he didn't have the stats or information he didn't have. He was honest. So here is what I think is, we're going to listen to it at 1.5 speed. Why? Just because it's like almost 20 some minutes total. And we're going to end the night on that. So here we go. Here is the parties for the defense going forward. And I forget who's who, but somebody's in this. Here we go.
How do the defendants want to break up their time?
Your Honor, I'm
Oh, don't freeze up on me, bro. Come on.
going to try to keep mine at about 15 to 17 minutes and leave the remainder of the time for Mr. Liddy.
You all right with that, Mr. Liddy?
We're 1.5 times.
Your contest, Your Honor. Very well.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just 3 days ago, Kari Lake's lawyer stood in this room.
Oh, hey, Kurt, how you doing? Doing well. Thank you for poking in. Guys, Kurt, a friend of the channel, Uncivil Law on YouTube. If you guys ever want to see good stuff about court cases going on, give him a look. So anyways, have a nice night, Kurt. But yeah, here we go.
And made a promise.
1.5 speed, just to get through it.
Having filled 70 pages of a complaint with grandiose tales of electoral malfeasance, they asked the court to give them a chance to prove their case at trial.
Why is it doing this? Why do you suck so bad?
Underpinning that argument was the implied promise that they would come to court to.
All right, we're going to refresh this. This is nonsense. Oh. Boomering. No, this is not my fault.
Just 3 days ago, Kari Lake's lawyer stood in this room and made a promise. Having filled 70 pages of a complaint with grandiose tales of electoral malfeasance, they asked the court to give them a chance to prove their case at trial. Underpinning that argument was the implied promise that they would come to court to trial with something, with anything, to justify Ms. Lake's decision to call on a court of law to give her a victory that the voters of Arizona had denied her. Kari Lake asked this court to give her the opportunity to make good on that promise, and the court did just that. It gave her the opportunity to move.
Yeah, we'll lower the resolution
beyond
a bit.
mere allegations and speculations and accusations, and bring to light the factual bases for her claims and the actual evidence to prove them. This court not only provided a forum for her to establish her claims, but also set up a clear roadmap for how to do it in its order from earlier this week. Kari Lake and her lawyers knew what they had to do at this trial, and 3 days ago, they knew the hand that they had to play. They knew the evidence they had, and they knew the evidence they didn't. This was their big moment to show their hand. But the only thing that has come to light over the last day and a half, everyone waiting with bated breath to see the big reveal behind these claims, is that they never had the evidence to back them up. And I'd like to walk briefly through what Ms. Lake needed to do to prevail on her claims and what she actually proved at this trial. As to count 2, on pages 6 to 7 of its order from earlier this week, the court ruled that plaintiff must show at trial that the BOD printer malfunctions were intentional and directed to affect the results of the election, and that such actions did actually affect the outcome. Plaintiff established none of this. Plaintiff's star witness was Clay Parikh, a cybersecurity expert. Mr. Parikh drafted a report in preparation of this case in which he cited everything from Twitter posts to unsigned declarations to provide a host of theories about all the things that could possibly have gone wrong on election day. Nothing in the report or any of its exhibits was offered into the record. And instead, by the time he took the stand yesterday, he was sure he had smoked out the problem. According to Mr. Parikh, in some vote centers, there are 19-inch ballot images printed on 20-inch paper, which is what caused the tabulation issues at Election Day. Mr. Parikh also testified that the only possible explanation for those Election Day errors is intentional interference in the system. It simply could not have happened by accident. There are more than a few flaws with Mr. Parikh's analysis, Your Honor, but for the sake of expediency, I'll focus here only on 3. First, despite Mr. Parikh's newfound certainty, there's reason to doubt that the 19-inch, 20-inch discrepancy was the root cause of all of the printer issues. Plaintiff's own witness, Bradley Betancourt, a T-Tech on Election Day, testified that restarting the printer and shaking the cartridge helped the printer problem significantly at some locations, neither of which would have shifted paper margins. Second, even if Mr. Parikh had put his finger on the tech issue that happened on Election Day, the mere identification of the cause does not indicate that it was the result of an intent to alter the election. To the contrary, the testimony from plaintiff's own witness, Mr. Betancourt, indicated that the county had deployed employees to fix the problem, and in many instances were successful. Mr. Jarrett, one of the co-directors of the elections, testified, based on his office's investigation, that the printer settings were likely adjusted by the T-Techs who were trying to fix the printer problems. They did not create 19-inch ballots in the system, but rather they caused ballots to be printed with a fit-to-paper setting in some locations. And as Mr. Macias just testified, in his experience, these kinds of widespread tech failures or tech issues are usually the result of equipment failures or some other administrative error beyond the purview of election officials and are specifically accounted for in the many layers of redundancies within the system to assure the security of the election. Neither Mr. Parikh nor anyone else has provided any evidentiary basis to call into question the good faith of Maricopa County election officials, which is presumed in this election contest. Third, even if Mr. Parikh had uncovered some malicious intent to alter the ballot margins, he failed to demonstrate that this had any actual impact on the outcome of the election. To the contrary, he admitted that any ballot that was not able to be read by a tabulator would have been duplicated, and that those duplicates would have been counted. Mr. Jarrett testified that of the 3 locations identified with issues of shrunken images on ballots, the total number of affected ballots was less than 1,300, a far cry from the outcome determinative number, and these ballots were located, went to a bipartisan adjudication board process, duplicated, and ultimately successfully tabulated. Plaintiff also called Mr. Sonaclar, a roving attorney from the RNC. Mr. Sonaclar testified about his observations on Election Day, long lines and frustrated voters who didn't want to put their ballots in door 3. Mr. Sonaclar offered his opinion that there had been some wrongdoing and that Kari Lake should have won. But the only evidence he could point to in support was, quote, common sense. When asked if he had any personal knowledge of either claim, he admitted he did not. Plaintiff's final witness on count 2 was Mr. Barris this morning. He was the one person who might be able to say whether this purported misconduct actually affected the outcome of the election. But this morning's testimony from Mr. Barris and Dr. Mayer lays bare the numerous reasons why Mr. Barris's analysis lacks any merit. Mr. Barris's outfit, big data polls, has been thoroughly discredited. He only polled people who said they actually voted, yet drew conclusions about people who didn't vote. His conclusions were based not actually on the responses to his poll, but on his assumptions of all of the people who chose not to respond to his poll. According to Mr. Barris, quote, I can observe them by their absence. Even if there were any conceivably scientific basis for this polling method, you don't have to be a mathematician to detect the fundamental flaws in his math. He opines that if there had been 2.5% more voters and all those voters voted on Election Day, then some of those voters would have voted for Kari Lake, and then Kari Lake would have won the election. Mr. Barris plucked this figure out of thin air. He admitted neither his forecast nor his poll provide evidence that 2.5% or any other specific number of voters stayed home as a result of tabulation issues or anything else. Even putting aside that fact, Mr. Barris pulled a sleight of hand with his calculations. He assumed that all 2.5% of those voters would have the same voting patterns as Election Day voters, even though the vast majority of Maricopa voters voted early and had different voting patterns. He also admitted that by Election Day, 1.3 million Maricopa voters had already cast their ballots. So for Kari Lake to come close to closing that 17,000 vote deficit, she didn't need 2.5% more voters to vote on Election Day. She needed at least 16% more voters. In other words, Mr. Barris admitted that for his speculations to come close to changing the election, 1 out of every 6 voters who planned to vote on Election Day would have had to stay home as a result of tabulator issues. But Mr. Barris admitted that his poll provided no information about the number of voters that encountered a tabulator issue or even the number of voters who encountered a line. Dr. Mayer, a respected expert who studies election administration for a living, whose testimony courts consistently rely upon, summed it up. Mr. Barris provided no evidence that any number of voters were disenfranchised by malfunctioning tabulators. In the end, not only is Mr. Barris's testimony not credible and nonsensical, it fails even on its own terms. That is the sum total of the evidence on count 2, Your Honor. And what did it prove? A printer issue happened. It's unclear what that issue was and if it was the same issue everywhere. And some voters were upset about it. That's it. No evidence of any person with any intent to do anything, let alone malicious intent to affect the election. No evidence that anyone didn't vote as a result, let alone that they were deprived of the right to vote. And not only did plaintiff provide no evidence whatsoever that any errors actually affected the outcome of the election, defendants provided affirmative evidence to the contrary. As to count 4, This court wrote on pages 8 to 9 of its order that plaintiff must establish that a person under the control of Maricopa County committed misconduct in violation of state law that affected the outcome of the election. Here, plaintiff's star witness on chain of custody was Heather Honey. Ms. Honey is an interested bystander to Arizona election administration. She conceded that she has never taken the election officer certification course. She's never worked as an election official. She's never worked as a poll worker. She's never worked as even a poll observer. According to Ms. Honey, she has only sort of ever been to the McTech facility and has no personal information whatsoever about what happened at Runbeck or McTech on election day this year. Ms. Honey's testimony consisted of her personal understanding of Arizona law and the EPM, which this court has no reason to credit, and her retelling of information that a Runbeck employee and a McTech observer told her after the fact. Now, one might wonder why plaintiff chose to call Ms. Honey instead of the actual witnesses to the events she testified about, both of whom were on plaintiff's witness list and neither of whom they called. It may be because in those declarations provided by Ms. Honey, these witnesses acknowledge the limitations of their own personal knowledge. According to the McTech observer Leslie Marie, she did not have a clear view of the activities on the truck or on the dock, and thus would not have seen any scanning or chain of custody documentation that occurred in those areas. And the Runbeck employee, Denise Marie, admitted that she saw about 50 ballots given to the sorting department by employees, and that she left an hour before mail ballots even arrived at Runbeck.
Notice they don't talk about the chain of custody issue, because that's a big problem for them.
Is that she hoped to see certain chain of custody documentation that she did not receive from the county. Based on Ms. Honey's testimony and the voicemail that Mr. Blem seems to think has broken this case wide open, it appears that plaintiff's new theory is that Maricopa County has failed to comply with a PRR request in a timely fashion. Needless to say, that claim is not currently before this court, nor is it any basis for overturning an election. Plaintiff's chain of custody claim seems to hinge on this notion that perhaps some number of ballots were injected into the batches at Runbeck. Denise Marie's declaration states her belief that she knew of approximately 50 ballots dropped off by Runbeck employees on behalf of their family members. Ms. Honey and plaintiff's counsel from there opine that for all we know, there could have been 50, 500, 50,000, 500,000 ballots injected at Runbeck. There are at least two fatal flaws in plaintiff's logic here. First of all, plaintiff's burden is to demonstrate that an actual number of votes were improperly counted and affected the outcome of the election. But Ms. Honey's testimony confirmed that any estimate of how many ballots are at issue in this chain of custody claim, quote, would be nothing but pure speculation. In short, Ms. Honey conceded that plaintiff could not meet her burden on this claim. Second of all, even if there were 50, 500, 500,000 ballots somehow injected into the process, plaintiff has not established that a single one of those ballots was invalid or shouldn't have been counted, nor could they. Every ballot received by Maricopa County is processed, checked against the voter registration record to make sure the person hasn't already voted, and then verified by a multi-level signature review process. Even if this court were to indulge plaintiff's chain of custody speculations, there is no evidence or even reason to believe that it had any effect on the number of votes lawfully.
I love their argument that, look, we still follow the rules, and even though that seems highly sketchy, letting people throw ballots in at any point, it's okay. Because they also admit we really don't have chain of custody. Like I said, everything else he said has been really good, and I agree with them for the most part. But coming out and admitting, yeah, so what? Who cares? Whew.
We counted, let alone on the outcome of an election that Katie Hobbs won by over 17,000 votes. The claims plaintiff has advanced in this election, Your Honor, in this election contest, raise serious allegations, intended to bring with them very serious consequences. But plaintiff's approach to this litigation has been anything but serious. Instead, plaintiff's record consists of hearsay upon hearsay upon hearsay, rank speculation, and a good dose of theatrics. In short, the trial record in this case reveals that there was never a case to begin with. On Monday, in arguing the motion to dismiss, I told the court that this was all just an elaborate story plaintiff was trying to tell, looking for the exciting plot twist. In allowing this contest to proceed to trial, this court gave Ms. Lake a chance to tell her story. And not just spin yarns, but the chance to actually point to evidence to stitch together a coherent narrative. What we got instead was just loose threads and gaping plot holes. We know now that her story was a work of
Gaping
fiction. And what we are left with today are the facts. And those facts are as follows. Kari Lake lost this election and must lose this election contest. The reason she lost is not because of a printer error, not because of missing paperwork, not because the election was rigged against her, and certainly not for lack of a full opportunity to prove her claims in a court of law. Kari Lake lost the election because, at the end of the day, she received fewer votes than Katie Hobbs. Katie Hobbs is the next governor. The people of Arizona said so. It is time to put this contest and these spurious claims to bed. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, by my count, you got 5 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Most of this is just theatrics anyway. I'll just cut that out.
This guy I have a big problem with.
Your Honor, I want to first touch on a couple things that we just heard from counsel for Kari Lake. Cancel culture. I don't think that means what you think it means. Bias. Their star witness, Tariq, gives freebies to the Prince of Stop the Steal. That's the pillow guy. That's bias. And we trust this court will be able to recognize true bias, perceived bias, and weigh and rule accordingly. Candidates are allowed to say anything they want out in the town common, and they'll be held responsible by the voters. Not true with lawyers who come in courtrooms in the state of Arizona. There's an obligation. Every lawyer is obligated to interview his or her clients, his or her witnesses, and make sure they know what they're going to say. If it's not true, can't present it to the court. It's an ethical violation. And if what exists for their testimony is not enough to meet the burden, the case should not be brought. And so, Your Honor, once you rule, we will be back seeking ARS 12349 sanctions and Rule 11 sanctions. Maricopa County takes responsibility.
Those sanctions aren't going to go anywhere. There's some merit here after what's been revealed. So I don't think that's going to go where he thinks it's going to go.
For the errors that occur in every election. This particular election, November 8, 2022, there were a significant number of printer errors. A minority by far, but significant. And those did cause real inconvenience and heartache for a lot of people. Maricopa County acknowledges that. Those were election day operations under the Board of Supervisors, not the reporter. But those errors, or those mishaps by machines, if you will, the effect that had on election day voters was compounded, Your Honor, not by intentional misconduct by any employee or anybody under the control of Maricopa
This is the part that I get a big problem with.
County, but by months and months and months of communication from the current leadership of the Republican Party of Arizona and the communications specialists of the Kari Late for Governor campaign that said, do not vote early. Even if you're on the Pebble and you got an early ballot, don't mail it. Don't drop it off the drop box. 2,000 mules. Bring your car maybe. Go on election day and vote on person. And Lord forbid, don't ever put your ballot in the drop box, in the ballot box, or in drawer number 3. Because there's something very scary about drawer number 3, which is nothing but a ballot box. It's what people all over the world do with ballots. Vote it, stick it in the ballot box. But people were terrorized by that on election day. That's not on Maricopa County. That's on the Kari Late for Governor campaign. That's on the Dr. Kelly Ward-led Republican Party communications apparatus. So we did not see in 2 days of testimony and all those affidavits came in evidence of a botched election. We saw evidence of a botched campaign, political malpractice. Who goes out and tells their voters, don't vote on day 1 of voting, early voting, day 2, day 3, all the way up to day 26 of early voting. Wait till the last second. That's political malpractice.
No, it's not political malpractice. You have the right to vote on voting day. That's why it's called voting day. That's why it's called election day, you asshole. It's always been election day. Going back to the beginning of the founding of this country. You voted on fucking election day. And what did most people do prior to 2020? You showed your ass up on election day and you fucking voted. To say this is malpractice? No, that's the day of the goddamn election. That's the day you were supposed to vote. Sit here and say that's malpractice. Vote when it can get counted directly. The fucking balls on you to say that to people. Yeah, because when you send it in, there is no accountability. This is the most direct way you can cast a ballot. It's the securest way. Putting it out there, you don't know if it's going to get counted. Number one. But number two, you have the right to vote on election day. Who the fuck do you think you are to tell people they can't? Seriously, you have the right to vote on election day. That's why it's called election day. So now they're making an excuse. Well, we weren't ready for this because we weren't sure we were going to get bukkakied by voters. It's election day. You should be able to handle every single person coming in to vote on election day. Because remember, Arizona, you can do a mail-in ballot and you can still go vote in person, and that in-person vote overrides your mail-in ballot. They should have been prepared to handle that, but they weren't. Why? Well, because it looks like it's intentional. They wanted to cause this problem. They weren't ready for it. Yes, and Gertrude, why the fuck are there 26 days early voting? Yeah. Absolute bullshit. To sit here and say this. I mean, fuck you. And I don't even know what your name is, bro. But go fuck yourself. To make an argument like that, you should... How dare you vote on election day? Some Reddit level bullshit that is.
You reap what you sow. Your Honor, the burden has not been met.
You reap what you sow by telling people to follow the electoral process that we use in Western democratic institutions and countries. You reap what you sow by telling people vote on election day because you might be dealing with a bunch of jackoffs in the election offices who don't know what they're doing and are malicious and sabotaging the system. You're right. You reap what you sow. His argument is basically you got fucked in the ass and it's your fault for letting them do it. It's the victim's fault. It's the voters' fault they got screwed. I mean, absolutely fucking selfish. I mean, Jesus. You come here and start screaming about sanctions and that's your argument? That's your firewater? Bro. I think he's almost done too, but God, I forget about...
When people come into this courtroom
Yeah, what the hell else has he got to say?
without evidence, there should be a day of reckoning. This has been happening all over the country, Your Honor, and it's got to stop. And it's got to stop right now.
A day of
Please stop
reckoning,
and
yeah,
go through
it's
this
got to
courtroom,
stop.
Your Honor.
Assholes like you have to stop. Day of reckoning. Maricopa County needs a day of reckoning. They can't do an election to save their fucking lives. It's like Helen Kellerville over there. I mean, yes, there is a day of reckoning. Yeah, David, you're right. Yeah, if you vote on election day, you're a terrorist. Basically what he's going at. Wrestlertown, yes, to him, voting on voting day is a privilege. Fucking people. I mean, Stabby saying, what's a pandemic showing? You can't vote in person. Michelle says, is there any way we as citizens could terminate mail-in voting? Work with your legislator because courts are upholding it. Yes. Mannix T says she shouldn't have voted while wearing that bikini. Yep. Yes, Garrett is right. Only insurrectionists vote on election day. Yes, Rocco is saying he's so mad. Oh, he's so mad. This was just like January 6th. Our democracy hangs in the balance. Oh my God, Judge, help us. So, Lorraine's saying you have 2 Rumble channels. Huh. I don't know what the deal with the Rumble thing is. I'll look at that. Not showing this live stream. Yeah, Rumble got all weird tonight. I don't know. Also, locals, that is my fault. I forgot to set up locals for this. So, yes, Jim, you're right. They're really trying to goad people into doing stuff. But yes, yes. How dare people vote on election day? Fuck you. That's the answer. Oh. Ralph L., you asked this question. I wanted to answer it. I wonder what the judge is writing. Probably something off on back of little memos needed for a signature. But he already has his mind made up. No, he's probably taking notes. He's already took notes through it, but he's also taking notes of their closing arguments and their summations. So I'm assuming that's what he's doing there. But yes, during courts and during trials, yes, sometimes judges are taking care of their other matters. It does happen. Sweet Tooth saying the legislators here don't want it fixed. They like the mayhem so they can let dead people vote. Yeah, that's the problem. And the sad thing is it's not going away. So we got to do the best we can with what we got. But yes, remember, how dare you for voting on election day? You get what you deserve. Remember, like Sam Hyde said, these people want you dead and your kids raped and they laugh about it. So govern yourself accordingly. Just like using cash is going to be considered the weird thing to do, voting on election day is going to be considered the weird thing to do. Just watch. fairly soon. Actually, I bet by 2024 that's going to get brought up. Like, you're voting on election day? That's so weird. Just wait. Just wait. You know what? Mark that down. We're marking that down right now. We'll put a pin in that one. If you vote on election day, you're the weird one. So, Ninja Brand Man says, I need 2 Rumble streams to hold my massive balls. Thanks. So, Exit Moon says, if I were the judge, I would overturn it just because of this. Yeah, but it's not enough. There's not enough here to overturn it, guys. It's not going to get overturned. It's going to get held as valid. They haven't shown enough, and that's not a fault of Kari Lake. It's just there wasn't enough evidence. Like I mentioned this when I was on Joe's stream yesterday. There is no like, ha 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 ha. We've got him on the run now, guys. Like, you know, dear Katie Hobbs and everybody else, ruin the voting process. You know, there's none of that. There's no emails. There's no proof. Doesn't mean it wasn't. And I think you can easily infer so many things going wrong as part of a plan and as part of an organized effort. But that's not going to be enough for the court. I mean, to overturn the election, it's not going to be enough. So, So that is it for me, guys, really. Hate to give you a black pill like that for tonight, but yeah, Kari Lake is done. She fought the good fight. And think around either side of this politically, it's important to see, wow, the efforts they're going to say, like, how dare you vote? That's something we can't tolerate. We can't tolerate that. So, is overturning the only remedy? Why no re-election? Well, if the judge really thought it was necessary, he would order a new election. He would overturn the results and order a new election. That's not going to happen. He's certainly not going to say, hey, Kari Lake, you're the actual winner. That will never happen. So, Reese says, a new member. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Action Moon real quick saying, somebody in Joe's stream mentioned if it's a 0.05 margin of victory, if the judge has some votes thrown out, a recount happens and it's out of his hands. It's not going to happen. None of that's going to happen. He's going to say sorry. The results are good. Now, the idea that they're going to get sanctions, they shouldn't. They've shown quite a bit. They've shown quite a bit. I mean, they almost got there, but just they were missing that. There's no there. And if they don't, I don't want them overturning it. But people should have the right to come into court and for court to say, oh, this is moot or it's unripe. And then afterwards saying, well, it's latches. You waited too long to challenge the election after the election's over. That can't be the standard courts use going forward. If there is enough compelling evidence, the court should look into it. Like this one. Turns out there was no chain of custody. That's a big deal regardless of who's involved. So I think where you are on this, yeah. Lorraine W saying crack in the box, got a silver play button. I saw that and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he got unbanned. So Sheeple Hunter says nothing surprised me anymore. When it comes to the corruption, I feel helpless. That's what they want you to feel. They want you to feel helpless. They want you to feel there's nowhere to go. They want you to give up. Remaining defiant, remaining boisterous, from keeping your head up. That's what pisses them off the most. Keep moving forward. That's what they can't stand. The fact they haven't broken you pisses them off to no end. So be unbroken. Keep moving forward. Keep your head up. Live your life. That truly drives them up a wall. So James PFP is saying the 290,000 votes can't be audited properly. There's no there. I mean, basically, the defense came in and said, sorry, Maricopa County's full of retards. Sorry about that. They can't do it right. That doesn't raise the level of intentionality. There's no malice there. It's just they're idiots. It's kind of one of those things go, like, is it just they're retarded, or do they suck at their job, or are they retarded? No, they're claiming they're retarded. So that's not enough. So that is it, guys. Jim's saying Merry Christmas, Happy New Year if I don't talk to you in the meantime. Yeah, and that is it, guys. I know it's we're coming up on the Christmas season. Guys, enjoy it coming up. If you got family, enjoy your time with them. I hope everybody has a safe holiday, safe travels if you're going anywhere. I will be back on next week. I might be on tomorrow night. I think I'm gonna be on Meme Copium stuff first thing in the morning. And then I will be on, I think, tomorrow night with Nick. I was talking to him today about that. So probably on tomorrow night. As far as Christmas Eve or something like that, maybe I'll fire up a stream. We can hang out. I don't know. Maybe Christmas Day. I don't know. Certainly in the week in between, I'll definitely be on. We'll definitely have stuff going on. Like I said, there's a bunch of videos I wanted. They're just getting ready to get put together. I'm going to start pounding them out for you guys. I mean, really just like pounding it out for you. So let me see here. Rocco's saying, have you ever looked into the 1994 Philly State Senate thing? And there have been times where courts have overturned stuff. But this one, I just don't think there's enough. So that is it for me, guys. That really is it for me tonight. Thank you for everybody who's been here. It's been a great time. 2 hours. That, you guys make it so easy for the time to fly by. And I thank you for that. You guys are great. Even when you guys are going off on your own tangents, it's hilarious to watch while I'm talking about other things. But the questions you guys ask are really good questions. I always appreciate it. So everybody tonight, everybody here is viewing. If you're here on Facebook, you watched it through Facebook, you're on YouTube, thank you so much. Anybody here liked, subscribed, just everything. Super chat, memberships, everybody, thank you so much, each and every one of you. I truly appreciate it. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. If it's Kwanzaa still, I don't know. Happy Kwanzaa. What else is there going on? I don't know. Whatever spaghetti monster people do, Pastafarians. And sheeple hunter, you're not as bad as I tell people you are. Oh, okay. Oh, real quick. Oh, I got to mention this on locals. Okay, if you are any of these people, I need you to help me out here. So I wanted to do a giveaway. Locals really sucks about how you could communicate with people. So what I need from any of you is, if you are any of these people, or you know who the hell they are, I need you to get a hold of these people and have them email me, because I want to get you guys your stuff. So let them know. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to pay to be in this giveaway. So supporters and just members, I want to get them their stuff. So if I don't hear from them soon, I may switch over and maybe drop people if I don't hear from them in the next week. But I want to get them their stuff. So if you guys know who they are, get in touch with them. I'm going to try again to get a hold of everybody. But yes, I got stuff for you guys. Pretty neat. You'll like it. And obviously won't get there by Christmas, but you'll get it. So that is it. That is actually the last thing. I almost forgot about that. I'll take all their stuff. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. There's too much. So, guys, thank you so much again. Good night, everybody. Merry Christmas, and I will see you guys around. Good night.